So this is going to be our function notation. These first ones, we're going to be plugging into the function. And what you need to ask yourself is, did they give us X or did they give us Y? Because one is one way and one is the other, and you don't want to get it backwards. So here we're given this equation. It says the domain is these numbers. Okay, so the domain is these numbers. Is domain X or is domain Y, guys? X. So that means these are your X numbers. We want the range, which is the Y numbers. So put Y equals, and look, all you need to do is plug these three numbers one at a time into this function. Now, whenever you go to the calculator, I'm going to share my screen. Calculator won't do X and Y. So what did I tell you to do instead? A or B. All right, so I'm going to type 6 minus 2A divided by 5. And then I'm going to come down here. And what do we want A to be first? Just look at the paper. Good. -1. There's your first answer. 1.6. If you want it as a fraction, look, do you see this little button right here that'll turn it into a fraction? 8/5. I kind of like the fraction better. Put 8/5 on your paper. Y equals 8/5. All right. Then I'm going to change A to equal what? What's the next one?
0.
0. Look, it gives you your answer. 6/5. Just put that on your paper. Comma. All right. And then what's the last one? 3. A equals 3. What do you get? 0. So your answer should look like that. I heard somebody say, wait, though. Question? Go ahead.
Oh.
So those were the X numbers. You just can't get it backwards. Those were the X numbers. We plugged them in for X. I just wrote A instead because the calculator won't do X. And it literally gave us the answer. There's no work, but you have to be able to use the calculator. All right, now read number 2. This involves reading and paying attention. I say this all the time. It's not intelligence. It's like direction following and organization, okay? It says the range of this equation is these. So what did they give us? Did they give us X or did they give us Y? Range is Y. Given this range, what is the domain? So your answer is going to be X numbers. Now I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to type it in. Now I can't type Y equals 3X minus 1. Or actually, you know what? I think I am going to teach it to you that way because the A and the B is going to get weird with this. I am going to type it that way. When you do range, just go ahead and type it in exactly like it looks. Y equals 3X minus 1. Do y'all see that? Okay. Do you see this graph over here? Do you see how it drew a line? All right. What do we want our Y values to be? What's the first one? Can you read it to me on there? -4. Do you see how do you see how you can move this graph? You guys aware of this? This is mostly how to use the calculator. Do you see -4 down here? All right. When we look at the graph for Y being -4, what's the X number? Do you guys see how we lined that up? I guess, you know what, the other thing you could do is type Y equals -4. Do you see that? How I put that line in there and you can click. -1 is your first answer. Put X equals -1. Comma. Then we're going to do the next one. What's the next one that they gave us? Do you guys see that on the paper? -1.
Oh.
I just typed Y equals -1. Look, there's the point. What's X? 0. 0 is your answer. Again, you don't have to really do any work. You just need to be able to use the calculator. All right, and then what's the last one? The third one they gave us. 5. Thank you for, oh my gosh, this is going so well. Do you see how you're reading and paying attention and listening to me? Is it, it's +5 right there. We go. Okay. Thank you for looking after me. Look there. Do you see how it drew a line at 5?
Yep.
All right. What's the X number? 2. All right. So what you should have written on your paper is that. All right. Now this is yes, no. Is it in the solution set? So we have this equation. Determine which ordered pairs are, basically it's which ordered pairs are on that line. So again, I'm going to share my screen. Let me clear all this out. This is calculator stuff. You just have to watch and learn how to use the calculator. 3X plus 2Y equals, what is it? 6?
Something like that.
All right. Now we're looking for those points. Watch. All I need you to do is watch. What's the first point they gave us? -2, 6. Do you see how I just typed that in? And it plotted that point? Is that point on the line? Yeah, circle that one. What's the next one? 0, -3. Watch, I'm going to type this in. 0, -3. Now I have to move the graph around to find it. Here's 0, -3. Do you see that right there? Is that point on the line? No, we don't want that one. Exit out. All right, what's the next one? 1, comma a half. Look, it's right there. Is that on the line? No. And then 1, comma 3 halves. I just changed it to 3 halves. Is that on the line? Yes. So do you feel comfortable with the calculator? I mean, it's just button pushing. You can get all those answers just from typing stuff in. You just have to be able to use your calculator. Okay. We'll do a little bit more and then I'll do like the halfway through break. All right. Now, when you see this, f of x, it said f of x, or it might say g of x or h of x. That just tells you which function to use. That replaces y. Maybe put some stars next to that or something. That is the output. You have x comma y or x comma f of x. That replaces the y part of it. Okay. So when you see this, f of x equals 2x minus 3, you could also write it as y equals 2x minus 3. Do you see what I did there? It's the exact same thing, but I wrote y instead of f of x. That's the y part. You with me here? Okay, thank you for heads nodding. Now, when it says f of -2, you're not multiplying anything together. What that means is you want to plug in -2. They're saying -2 is the x. What is the y? That's the question that they're asking. If x is -2, what's y? All right. And we're going to type it in the calculator. So I'm going to come on over here. I'm going to use a instead though. So what was the equation? It was y equals what? Or it was 2x minus 3. I'm going to type 2a minus 3. Do you see how I typed that? 2a minus 3. Don't stare off into space. You have to know how to use the calculator. When I turn this over to you, you're going to have to know how to use the calculator. 2a minus 3, what do I want a to equal? What did it say to plug in? -2. Boom, there's your answer. What is it? -7 is your answer. That is literally all you've got to do. This one is asking you to plug in 7. So it's x is 7, what's y? Well, I still have the equation in there. I'm just going to change the -2 to a 7. There you go, 11. 11's your answer. That's all you've got to do. And then what's the last one? Yeah, -4. You see that there? Yeah, -11. That's 11, that's -11. Okay. Now, sometimes there will be multiple x's in an equation. When that happens, you have to replace both. All right, look it. They called this one h of x. The thing that throws everybody off is just how it's written. What can I replace h of x with, though? How else could I write that? Y, good, right? Y equals x squared minus 3x plus 5. Because what scares everybody is just how it's written. You're not actually doing anything all that hard, but the way it's written bothers everybody, all right? So write it as y equals, I'm going to share my screen again real quick. And what will I type? You have to know how to use the calculator. So what am I going to type? You guys tell me this time.
X squared.
Not x squared, but good. So it's a squared. Good. Then what? Minus 3a. Good. Then what? All right. So a equals -3. What's your answer?
23.
23. That's it. And then for that other one there, I'm going to erase the -3 and put 5.
That's a 5, William.
That's a 5.
She got a weird font.
Well, I didn't change the font. That's just what Desmos says. Now, real quick, let me go back up to this one. If instead of x, what if they gave you f of x? I'm just going to make up a different example. What if they said f of x is 11? Well, no, we already did 11. Let's say f of x is 17. What is x? Because sometimes they do that. Let me show you how to put that in the calculator. Instead of x, if they give you y, I'm just going to type it in. Let me share my screen. What was that equation? Y equals 2x minus 3. And then I'm gonna come down here and type y equals, what's the number I made up? What did I give you? Yep, 17. Now I'm gonna have to move this around to get all the way up here to 17. There, do you see the line at 17? I'm just gonna come over here where they meet. What's your answer? 10.
Dotted.
So if they give you the y instead of the x, that's how you want to type it in. Just type the equation and then y equals whatever, and then you can find where they meet up. Your answer in that case would be 10. Because sometimes they do it backwards. So you have to be able to do forwards and backwards. Okay? But this comes from the calculator. Thank you for paying attention. All right, so we just got done doing finding x and y from an equation, and you can simply use the calculator. Type in the equation, and then put in x or y, it'll give you your answer. Now we're going to do them from a table. You don't even need a calculator for this. You just need to be able to read a table, so it's super easy, but you have to look at what I'm pointing at or you're not going to know how to find it, all right? Here's your table, x, f of x. If you want to write y instead of f of x, that's your output, same thing. It says f of -3. All you have to do is find -3 for x and see what y is. So here's -3 for x. Your answer is 2. Literally, that's it. Ms. Cole, that's it? Yep. But people mess it up because they don't know how to read a table and they don't listen to me. So you have to pay attention. Again, it's not intelligence, it's organization. Yes.
7. Would that be 0 or?
Good. So f of 20, you find 20 for x and your answer is 0. Good job. Yes, look, okay, so this was backwards. This says when y or f of x is 9, what's x? Well, that would be 2. Do you all see that there?
Next one's 0.
Like, you have to be able to find it. All right, when f of x is -1, x is
0.
0. Okay, cool. I like the tables because that's all that there is to it. Go ahead and flip over. Now, these are the graphs. Same thing as the table, but you have to find the ordered pair yourself. So again, you have to watch me point to it because I don't have a better explanation than look. Okay, look, and there it is. So this is x is -4, what's y? Basically, that is asking you, you want the points -4, comma, whatever. You're finding that whatever, okay? So you have to look for -4 on the x-axis and watch me point to it. It's right here. Do you see that? Find where that point hits the graph. Good. The answer is 1. It's the point -4, comma, 1. It's right there. Okay. Well, we're going to do a couple more and then we're going to do a different graphs. It's practice, right? F of 2. It's asking you for the point 2, comma, something. You just need to find the something. So here's 2 on the x-axis. Good. You just find where that hits the graph and it's -5. 2, comma, -5. Good. Do you see how this works when you guys listen to me? It's awesome. All right. And then f of 0. So you want the point 0, comma, something. -3. Beautiful. Now this one's backwards. It's saying f of x or y is -4. What is x? So it's like this. It's something, comma, -4. So you're going to find -4 on the y-axis. Watch me point to it. Here's -4 on the y-axis. And where that hits the graph. So it's this point right here. This point right here, I just drew an arrow to it. Do you see how it's 1, comma, -4? Okay, so your answer is 1. That's tough because it's backwards. We're going to try it again down here. It's practice. Let's just try a couple more. All right. For this one, f of 3. So you want to find the point 3, comma, something. Do you see it? Good. 3, comma, 1. It's that point right there. By the way, do you know what the center point is called? There's a special word for that. I'm just going to see if you know it. Begins with a V. Vertex. Have you ever heard that word before? Okay.
Close.
All right. F of 1. So you find 1 on the x-axis. Where does that hit the graph? 5. Good. 1, comma, 5. And then do 4. Find the point 4, comma, something. 2. Perfect. Now these ones are backwards. That's a little tougher. for this one, you're looking for the point something comma 5. You want something, like whatever that something is, comma 5, the X value. So you find 5 on your Y axis. And actually there's 2 answers for that. Like if you draw that in, actually we get 2 answers. That's kind of weird. What is one of them? 1 is one of them, and what else? What's the other one that'll give you 5? 5. So you actually get 2 answers for that. That's kind of weird.
What the- and-
That's an and symbol. Yes. All right, and then here, or a comma, that's fine. I don't care, whatever. And then here you're looking for a point something comma 1, so where Y is 1. Good, that's this point right here. It's 3 comma 1, so 3. And because that's the vertex, that's actually the only one we got. Cool, that went well. All right, these last 2 are word problems. That means you have to read. They gave us an equation. That means we can just use the calculator. All right, so whenever they give you an equation like this, it means you're going to use the calculator. D represents distance in miles. A train is after X hours. So we have miles and we have hours. I always circle things like that in a problem. Like those are the things we're talking about. How far, so our answer should be miles, is the train after 8 hours? All you have to do is plug in 8. Good. So I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to type the equation. What was it? 1,375 minus, what am I going to type? You guys tell me. 110. A, good. And then I'm going to come down here and put A equals 8. What's your answer? Good. 495. I guess the 5s look like 3s up here. It's a 495. You guys are just kind of far away from it. But you have to put something else with that. Miles. Good.
This is an academic weapon.
That's now on my recording. Good job.
Good job, Gordon.
All right. And then last one of these. Function C of X equal, and again, this just bothers everybody. If that bothers you, if you're like, I don't like that, just put Y. It's Y. Okay. If that scares you, because I think that's the biggest problem with this, is it just bothers everybody. So we've got cost in dollars for buying X tickets. So you have dollars and you have tickets. To the baseball game with a $10. Do you see that's $10 coupon and it's whatever minus 10? That's because the coupon took off $10. It's a pretty good coupon. All right. How much does it cost to buy 5 tickets? You're just going to plug in 5. All right. So I'm going to share my screen, get rid of all this. You guys tell me what to type because you don't have to do any work, but you have to know what buttons to hit. All right. 17.5 A. Minus 10, oh, 10. So you don't hit the wrong buttons though, or it'll tell you wrong. All right, and then down here, A equals 5. Perfect. All right, so there you go, 77.5. But we have to write more than just that because it was a cost. So if it comes out 77.5, it's actually $77.50. That's a lot to buy 5 tickets. Is that how much a baseball game is? I don't go to baseball games.
At least 4. Yeah, it's not good.
Sounds about right. Okay. And then B is how many tickets can you buy with $130? Now it's the other way around. So I'm going to share my screen. And for this, I would just type in the whole function. So it's 17.5x minus 10. I need the Y equals in front. Y equals 17.5x minus 10. Nothing showed up. Where's my line? There's my line. All right. And we want Y to be what? How much money do we have? 130. Now that's going to be all the way up here because it's 130. So sometimes you have to move the graph. Here we go. Do you see I'm going until I get to 130? Do you see that? I had to move the graph to get up to 130. Okay. And then there it is. How many tickets can you buy? 8 tickets.
You should also do 130 divided by 17.50.
You would have to deal with the coupon though.
Oh, yeah.
But you're right. So can I bring up, and I want this to be on the recording too. He brought up, couldn't you just take your 130 and divide it by 1750? Well, you'd have to do 130 plus 10 for the coupon. So like, see how this says minus 10? You would do plus 10. So let me show you that. That's actually a really good point. Hold on. Don't stop listening to me. Humor me because that's a good point. If you take 130 plus 10, you get 140. And if you take 140 divided by the 17.5, you get your 8 tickets. So you're actually like working it out mentally instead of just looking at the graph.